Hello, folks. Welcome to another Bitcoin market analysis by Inspocrypto. First of all, sorry for the technical issue with the sound yesterday in my analysis. Yeah, my sound card just don't want it to work anymore, and I had to spend some bucks, and now everything should work again. So let us talk. Let us start with the wealth ratio as usual. I will try to make even yeah, just a quicker overview for the paid subs, even less than 30 minutes if possible. So let us talk wealth ratio. What's happening there? Well, let us take the 30 hours moving average of the wealth ratio. It makes more sense at the moment. And we can see it went down, up, and a little bit down. It's stable. It looks like it just wanted to go down again. However, we are still in a very high level. So these guys are still distributing, and that's something we can also observe in the CBDs. I will show you later on. The stablecoin reserves on exchanges, for example, we can see here they declined just yesterday, but it lifted up again. I mean, that matches very well to the price action, but it's declining. And the stablecoin supply, for example, if I zoom in a little bit, it's still in a declining trend. It's still even it looks a little bit more stable at the moment, but it's indicating they are still reducing the total supply. I mean, it's yeah, a downward trend. Our net flow, as you know, it's showing the Bitcoin in and outflows to all exchanges, so not separating between spot and derivative. And we had today really big inflows related to Bitcoin, but also big outflows, and all of them are mostly related to derivative exchanges and not to spot exchanges. That's it at the moment. I mean, well, we can see here as well that the wealth ratio is declining now from its top level of 0.96 to 0.76, so showing that whales are sending less Bitcoin at the moment, and also confirmed by the net flow. That's it. Let's talk about this spot flow activity. Now, we see stable coins relatively flat at the moment. I can show you that here. Also, the net flow indicating really we are talking about less than 10 millions. That's unusual. Today, nothing happening here. What's going on? I mean, is the spot market really dying? It looks. I mean, we had the same, but today, I mean, that's Thursday. What's happening here? I really don't get that. Well, if we check Bitcoin inflows, we have here this morning 500 Bitcoin, here 380 Bitcoin. The biggest one at the moment was 8 hours ago with almost 860 Bitcoin, then 570 Bitcoin, and right now it's lifting up to 800 Bitcoin, and the price is declining. However, that's not big. I mean, we had yesterday afternoon almost 2000 Bitcoin, and you can see, I mean, that fits very well. 2000 Bitcoin here, what happened? The price declined. 800 Bitcoin, that's not going to make anything to the price action at the moment, I guess. So I don't know if they're accumulating some bitcoins on the exchanges to dump afterwards. That could be possible, but the market right now is just, yeah, flipping a little bit more to bullish. Of course, just following SPY or SPX because they are lifting up as well, and Bitcoin just um, following. However, not really big inflows or outflows here, so we need to check more information and data. So let us see what's happening to the future market related to Bitcoin. And as usual, let us start with today. Let me zoom in a little bit. So um, we start with the funding rate. I use the same color just to make it clear. That's the funding rate. Let us take a look to the open interest. And with the leverage ratio. That's cool that you can use actually the same color. So what we can see here is that since midnight, the funding rate is declining, the open interest is rising, and the leverage ratio too. The price action is not exactly doing what all these guys or people are expecting, but sometimes I think because retailers are staying away, and so it seems some whales maybe are starting to bring some shorts on the way. That's at least that could be possible. Um, but however, we can check what happened here to the stablecoin futures, and we see here we have the biggest one, 100 million, happened some hours ago, almost 8 hours ago, and just well, yeah, that's useful. Just last hour we had 100 million inflows and 99 million outflows. So we have a little bit more stablecoin inflows related to derivative exchanges, but absolutely nothing big. I mean, compared to yesterday, really absolutely nothing. So, we need to check here the Bitcoin inflows. I have tweeted about that. It was really a large amount of Bitcoins that arrived on derivative exchanges, and that's usually a very, in my opinion, a very bullish sign. And if we can take that here, we can see they, in my opinion, they initiated the pump with almost 7,000 Bitcoin, and just few hours later, 2 to 3 hours later, they had their outflow with 7,150 Bitcoin. So it seems that was a quick up just to lift up and to trigger, it seems, some FOMO. But because I noticed on CBD that some exchanges have started to buy that spot, by the way, and well, that's everything. I mean, now it looks very flat again. We are talking about 1,500 outflow and 900 coming in, but 1,000 outflow again. So it seems they are taking profit. And when I see such kind of taking profit related to bitcoins and derivative exchanges, for me that's bearish. But yeah, I mean, some people say, yeah, but Inspo, they can short with Bitcoin margin contracts. Yes, they of course they can, but it's not optimal. So I think, I mean, taking into a look 100 million stablecoin inflows, we need to see if we can find more data to give us a nice solid direction if up or down. Wow, if we take a look to the liquidation map of the Kingfisher, that looks different to yesterday, right? I mean, we are talking here, this bar here has more than 300 million in volume. That's really big. Um, if we check that, 300 million, yeah, here, 306 million. That's really big. We have some billions here. We could start to liquidate them between 41.7 and 41.7 and 13.97. So quite possible that we will. I mean, we are overbought anyway, so it's possible that we start to dump a little bit to try to liquidate them because the shorts it's nothing. It's really they reduced even more. We are talking here at 43k, 29 million. That's really low volume. Blockchain whispers. Also, quite different picture since yesterday. Shorts are rising, still more longs, but of course, because of Bitfinex, 96%. That's just unbelievable. And but as mentioned yesterday, for me that's the key. And I see that shorts are rising, even if we have more longs, still more longs, and that matches very well to FTX as well. But in my opinion, in FTX they are using high leverage because such kind of volume that's really crazy. However, that looks for me that more and more people are expecting a declining or bearish price action next. So let us check what's happening to different entities. Let us have a look here. What we can see is nothing big have changed. So the market makers, for example, these guys here, I mean classified by Inspocrypto as market makers, because these guys have the best trade behavior. Nothing happening, really nothing happening, and that's really strange. That doesn't really happen quite often, as you can see here. I mean, we had such kind of situations, but afterwards something big happened. And that's something I'm expecting since few days. You remember I have said that when these guys are making such kind of moves, so big accumulation, then an extreme move should happen next. And I'm still waiting for that. At the same time, we have here, for example, the red line is indicating entities with 100 to 1000 Bitcoin. They are still selling. And we have the little whales with 10 to 100 coins, and you can see it's just it's well, it's not accumulation, not really, because they are not really accumulating big. It's yeah, I don't know what exactly these guys are doing. It seems quick profit, buy low, sell high. But for me, my scope is always these guys here. And it's very strange what they are doing. They're waiting for something. So, but if we take, for example, this chart here, I can see more. So we have here the same entities. There are their fund flow. We see here, for example, this candle indicating we had some volatility in this candle because they or a little fight, and it's very interesting because they had here the flow supply, those little whales with entities between 10 to 100 bitcoins. They had a fund flow of 2,600 Bitcoin. That's big, and these guys are very active at the moment. Whales with 100 to 1,000 Bitcoin, almost 1,500 Bitcoin. And well, I mean, interesting because someone dumped and the other one have started to lift up. And also interesting what happened to the market makers. You see that was the red candle on the way up. We have here 1,100 Bitcoin. And The other guys, you can see here actually the counts. So the entities with 100 to 1K, 700 fund flow, 700 Bitcoin fund flow, and 440 Bitcoin for the entities with 10 to 100. Very interesting, very interesting. And the most interesting part is why they are not indicating here a big fund flow almost in the top. Hmm. I don't know actually why not, because they are not really buying. Maybe they are expecting that the price could lift up even more. That could be the reason. Or they have sold what they needed to sold. That's also possible. So who or what is driving the market right now? Well, we can see here CVD. It's very useful just to check what's happening at the moment. And let me make this one. The aggregated spot CVD is also showing its correlation to the price action, but as usual, much more with futures and stablecoins, because yeah, I show you that. So distribution happened here. That's the aggregated spot, and they just reduce their Bitcoin margin contracts like they are doing right now, for example, also here. The last pump was driven actually, let me change the color, with aggregated spots, so exchanges buying coin margin contracts. At the same time, we can see here stablecoin futures. Okay, and here holding a little bit the price. That's what we see if we are using the 50 minutes time frame. If we zoom in, for example, we can see even more. We can see perfectly who was driving the last pump, and it's surprising me a little bit because the price action, it's more correlating to the coin margin contracts than to the stablecoin ones. But that matches maybe to this quick deal. I mean, 7,000 Bitcoin inflows to derivative exchanges, pump the market, and then start to make some profit. And that's something we are seeing here. Someone is cleaning my windows. Okay, that's. Thank you very much. So, but as you can see here as well, the stablecoin futures are still very active. So they are um, preventing a big dump because they are distributing at the moment. Not FTX. FTX, it's not looking like, I mean, it's possible that they dump afterwards, but at the moment it looks very controlled. And yeah, if we check the bots, it's as usual very interesting. All five synchronized, beautiful picture. You can see perfectly like Binance and FTX and Bitfinex and Huobi and OKEx are doing exactly the same at the same time. It's of course coincidence. Um, yeah, and so that's very interesting. I have more charts here, for example, Binance, and that's, for example, the CBD on Binance indicating they are buying at the moment. We have here Bitfinex. You can see perfectly what Bitfinex is doing. We have Bitfinex USD instead. Yeah, they are selling, but I can tell you why they are selling. That's SPY, that's it's BX, and that's at the moment the market driver. They are doing exactly the same, and the bots are just following it. That's everything. So, what's happening to exchange walls? Coinbase, nothing. They triggered their orders at 42 and we are reaching 42K, so I'm wondering what's going to happen next. If we rebound here, bounce here, sorry, if we bounce here, or if we decline even more, because 42K, it's now call and put wall. So at the moment it should work like a support. And we need to see what's happening. If we lose the 42K, it's going to flip to resistance then. Yeah. So Deribit, spoofing, nothing. Bitstamp, nothing. Binance Spot, nothing. Bitfinex, spoofing, of course, but nothing. We still have their wallet 44K. That's it. FTX perp. That's so interesting what they have, what they did here just to prevent and to go up even more. It's so controlled everything, and that's insane. Also here just spoofing and preventing that the price just dump even more. It's very controlled everything. BitMEX, we still have our wall at 38K. But that's it. That's so interesting. 7.5 million, almost 10 million were waiting there. My favorite chart, and of course indicating as usual limitation here, like they did the limitation here and here, and that's where the price just yeah, failed, 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 failed. So the price is just failing and then flipping, and that's what they are doing at the moment. This is also spoofing. That's not walls. These guys are, you see how it depends, how the orders are just rising and then shifting to a lower ranges then afterwards. Bitfinex derivatives, also very interesting what I see here. A big cluster with low volume orders. My mouse is stalling again. And FTX spot. Yeah, nothing. Okay. Well, also not really useful at the moment.